Hey, hello, welcome everybody to a new episode of Merging Minds, podcast powered by BureauWorks. Today, I have a very special guest that I have invited to talk today about his life, his experience, what he's doing. I'd like to introduce you to one of my favorite people, a person that I met through the localization industry, Mr. Andrew Lawless. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Javi. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure, my friend. For those who are listening who still don't know Andrew, which is difficult, let me quickly tell you that Andrew is a certified high performance coach dedicated to helping individuals and teams achieve their full potential. He is super young, but still he's got 20 years of experience in coaching, training, and leadership development. Andrew is amazing. He works with a wide range of clients, including Fortune 500 companies, entrepreneurs, and even athletes. I love that. I'm an athlete as well myself. He's known, and I've seen him speaking, and he's really well known for his engaging and dynamic speaking style. And he has delivered keynotes, workshops, and conference and events all around the world. And as I said before, he's somebody I can call a friend. Hi, Andrew. Then is that a great introduction of you, right?
Yeah, well, that's like a little bit too much, So I'm not a certified high performance coach anymore. I used to be certified, as you know, like certified high performance coaching is Brandon Bashar's coaching program. And I have not renewed my certification this year because I don't need it anymore, right? So,
Yeah.
but it was super valuable. I love the program. I cannot call myself certified high performance coach any longer. But outside of that, yeah, thank you. It's like, I don't know what to say. It's like I'm flattered.
I know you're also, I know you well, and I mean, I know you, and I know that you're also a martial arts expert. Tell us a
Yeah,
little bit.
I used to practice martial arts called Wing Chun. If you saw the Ip Man
Yeah.
movies, that's my lineage. So my grandmaster was a student of Ip Man's, and I've actually completed the entire weaponless system. But now I've retired. So
Oh,
I,
no meaning. Okay.
I did use that. I think it was the 2006, and between 2006 and 2012, I did train at the FBI Academy as a consultant, and I
Okay.
trained hostage rescue teams, agents, and then with the Department of Defense at Fort Belvoir, in Virginia, next to
Oh.
DC, with the Special Forces. So nobody knows that. Not a lot of people know that, and I'm not telling a lot of people because it confuses the hell out of them. I used to be one of the leading experts for like pulling people out of the car and stuff, pinning them to the ground, put the handcuffs on, and stuff them back into the Suburban. Right. So
I've seen that video of yours on Facebook. That was awesome. That was awesome.
yeah.
Did you really meet Jean-Claude Van Damme once?
I worked as a bodyguard for him, like in the 80, was that 80, 89, 88, or somewhere around there, or 9, I don't know that time. A mutual friend of mine, of ours at the time, an actress called Jacqueline Bisset. I don't know anymore. She, through her boyfriend, Emin Botstepper, who was also one of my martial arts trainers, and her boyfriend, they got that connection, and then and it was not a pleasant experience, by the way.
Wow.
I had to think. I was more concerned about the safety of his wife because he was very, very borderline abusive,
Yeah.
Then he protecting him from like 14-year-old girls, So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
But
Wow.
again, those are the stories that you like to tell, and you tell like 40 years later.
Yes. That's a good introduction from you. You know what I try to ask also the guests that are coming to the podcast? I wanna, like, we all have, or everybody has a very beautiful bio, some achievements and stuff, but I want to go to the personal side of Andrew Lawless as well. And I want to quickly ask you 4 quick questions to define yourself through asking you firstly, what is your favorite movie? If you have one. Which one?
Run.
Okay. What is your favorite music artist and album?
Hands down, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm seeing him here in a month. So
And I think Wrecking Ball was the best album he's ever made, but
yeah.
as much of a success than others. Yeah. And right now I'm totally into Kenny Chesney and No Shoes Nation Radio. If you have XM, like Sirius XM, No Shoes Nation, like chilled, is relaxed. It's all about having a good life and fun and being positive. And so I enjoy that. And unfortunately, we lost Jimmy Buffett last year, and he was one of my heroes as well.
Okay. Food. What is your favorite food, my friend?
Yeah, it's good. I live in Texas right now, so I am totally into anything tacos and Tex-Mex.
And your favorite place on earth?
Cinque Terre in Italy.
Oh, I've been there. That's awesome. That's beautiful, man. What a
Yeah,
beautiful place.
I have always had that vision that I retire with like a glass of Barolo in my hand, and you see the sunset over the French Riviera, and like on top of those hills, and you see the winding streets through the vineyards, and so on. It's beautiful.
Will you ever retire? Not you.
No,
What
you
is
know,
the world going to do without you?
I will never retire. For one, because I'm poor, and second, we know from every study that the moment people retire, they die within like a couple of years.
Yes, indeed.
Right,
Yes,
because
indeed.
people die because they either they are lonely, they don't have a connection, or they don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
Right, so they're
Yeah.
either lonely or purposeless, and then people die. So as long as you stay active, you have a purpose, and you contribute to your neighborhood, to your groups, to your societies, to your parish, whatever. The more you do that, the longer you live. Yeah.
You know, we've talked many times during these last few years, the last 3-4 years, and in one of our conversations and in one of the shows we did live, I remember we were discussing the power in leadership, the power of positivity and the approach, right? And I will never forget one quote that you said there, and that I've been applying to life and to living ever since. I've always been a positive person. I've tried to hide sometimes that I didn't feel good, that I didn't feel bad behind the positivity curtain. But I remember this quote, and this all comes, accepting this all comes from the quote that you said on that day 3-4 years ago. You said, like, in order to become a full grown and a full realized person, you have to acknowledge all possible human feelings, accept them, live them, and they're there, right? I still have to thank you nowadays, for years after, for having said that, because you opened my mind in that. And I hope today that with the talk we have today, we can open also some other people, some of our listeners' minds as well, right? Because you always have a lot of good feedback to give, a lot of good experience to share, and I'm thankful that you're here, my friend.
Well, thank you for bringing up that specific quote. I think it was like what I said about myself. We talked about positivity, and I said, well, it's not positivity alone. It's not going to cut it because, for example, when you feel depressed, that's also when you're most creative, right? So it's no coincidence that Bruce Springsteen, we talked about Bruce Springsteen, who is like one of the most creative, most brilliant musicians and poets of our lifetime, also has struggled with depression all of his life, right? And tried to take his life more than once, or was actually thinking about it as per his autobiography, right? So, and I don't want to go to that extreme, but what I want to say is you are most creative when you are downhearted and you feel depressed. That's different from clinical depression, but so that's why I said I would like to experience the whole range of human emotions, right? Because when do we as humans develop the most?
When
things don't go well. That's what when things go well, that's very often when we stop developing or stop making progress, or we're getting lazy because we're comfortable, and then until we hit end of level, and then we crash, But so it's good to feel all the emotions. Although I have to say, having fun is better.
Yes, yes, indeed. It's funny that you say that, because one of the purposes that I had today, or one of the purposes of inviting you as well, was to talk about a lot about what's going on in the world nowadays, and I want you to share your experience with that. And it's interesting that you mentioned that people are creative when they're most down in terms of sadness, and when you really have to get out of it, right? Because we're recording this podcast. It's March 2024 now, and for the last year and a half, and you know it well, we've experienced a lot of layoffs in our industry, like shaking people's worlds and lives. From one day to the other, you're on top. From the next day, you have nothing, and things like that in our current context, right? And as you say, this you can see it in two different ways, I think, right? One as an opportunity and one as a failure, and as I come down, right? But trying to get out of that and trying to grow from this experience is what I think I should do and we should do, right? To as professionals, right? You've been working with people in this situation, right, through your career, and helping them achieve a lot.
Yes, all the time.
Please share with us some of those examples of people that got started and you're like, oh my God, that's nothing to do, or
Well, I think most people get so. Let's start with like what's happening, like with the layoffs and so on, and specifically, that was totally predictable. I remember like when we went into COVID, to the lockdowns, and now people said, well, are we going to work from home? We're going to start our own consulting company. We're working. We're not going back to corporate. And if we do, we want to have like an insane amount of money and unlimited PTO and all of that. I'm like, at one point they will figure out a way to get this done, all the work done without people. And I think it's no coincidence that the use of AI has rapidly increased in the last 3 years. That is, I think, is a direct response from corporate America, especially the tech to that kind of attitude, right? But that's what I meant earlier. So people were comfortable, say, we're great, we're in charge now, but they did not make that next move in their own development. And guess who made the next move? The tech industry. Yes. So that's one. So that was predictable, and the behavior of many of the employees that I've seen in tech, led to that. Period. That's just what it is. There's no judgment. It's just my observation, right? So the other thing that I want to say is that most people that get laid off find a better job within 6 weeks. Right? So not a big deal. Yes. So as long as you stay forward thinking and are not too hard on yourself, because what happens is that people say, oh, I got laid off, but these guys over there didn't. So, I must suck and, and I'm not as good enough. And that's usually not the case,
It makes me think like a lot of times when this happens to friends, known people or people out there, people tend to think, hey, what now? Especially before the reaction moment, right? And people get to think sometimes, hey, I'm stuck. What am I going to do now with my life? Is it the moment to get a new job? Is it the moment to go entrepreneurial? What is it, right? And based on your experience, I'd like to ask you if you can share with us some of the most common I'm stuck problems you find in people that you coach these days or that you get coached these days.
Yeah. So that question, everybody has that question at one point, whether or not they get laid off or they're doing well in their job. And I don't know about you or about you, the listeners here, but most people, when they start out in corporate, they want to become managers. I want to be a manager of people, and then they manage people, and then they realize how hard that is, right? And it's not pleasurable. It's hard. You're managing an adult daycare, and the problems that you're dealing with, and then you need to deal with the ever so useless HR policies, right? That prevent you from taking action against the non-performers and hold the high performers back, right? So most managers do not get the tools to really, other than a little bit of money, to really motivate their high performers, right? Because it would be like unequal, right? And now it's all about equality. So, and at one point, a lot of people think, why am I not doing it by myself? I'm the expert in my industry. I'm good at my profession. Why
am I stuck, right?
Yeah. Why am I going? You are one of them.
Yeah, I was one of them. Yeah.
You live your life on your own terms, right? And it's very, it's very, very compelling, right? So, hey, I can live life on my own terms. I can make an insane amount of money. And I can actually have fun with what I'm doing and make a difference. Yes.
Yeah.
The difference,
well, except for the big amount of money, yes. The rest, yeah.
Well, yes, yeah. But here we go, right? So
yes,
and then when people make that move, so some people do not make that move. Yes, because they are making so much money, especially in like tech, that to replace that money as a freelancer or a business owner is very, very hard. If you're already making 350,000 and above, it's going to be hard to replace that income as a consultant right away, right? When you start from scratch or coach.
Yeah.
So because we are living in there are two different realities, right? So when you're employed, your potential to make a lot of money is smaller, but your security appears to be stronger, right? We know with the layoffs right now, it's not necessarily the case, but that's the thinking behind it, right? Can you, as an employee in tech, make an insane amount of money? Yes, right? But those are just a few people, right? When you start your own business, that equation changes, right? So you have the potential to make an insane amount of money, but you have zero safety. It's just you. The good thing is that you are in charge of your income. On the other hand, you are in charge of your income.
Yes. I remember a friend who yes.
Totally different mindsets. Yes. So and most people don't realize how hard it is to shift your mind that way. Hard, right? So that's why.
Do you believe in failure? Do you believe failure happens? Do you believe failure can?
100%. You need a failure. I can tell you why. Success is a matter of making the right decisions, right?
Yeah.
Making the right decisions is a matter of having good judgment.
Yes.
Good judgment is a matter of having experience.
Yes.
And experience often comes from failure.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Yes. Totally.
So the more often you fail, or when you fail, what you can say is, "Hey, I'm not good enough. I knew it." Or you can say, "You know what? I'm one step closer to success." Also, when we fail, when we learn most.
Yeah. And those individuals that you coach that come up to you and talk like, I fail. Like I come with a negative attitude or like with a negative experience that I had recently, or I don't know where to start. And you discuss with them from the negative perspective that they're showing you, from their failure perspective they're showing you, right? How can you help from your point of view, from your business, what you're doing, help those individuals reframing their perspective on failure to view it as a learning opportunity, what you were saying now? Like what are the things that you tell
I think
those
the biggest challenge that I'm seeing is that most people don't believe two things. They don't believe that they are good enough to be successful. And you need to believe that, otherwise it's not going to happen. But that's not enough, right? So the second reason is that most people don't believe that they are worthy enough to for success, right?
So it's the moment we talk about imposter syndrome, which is the thing you hear the most now in tech, right? In their sector.
Imposter syndrome is like, I'm not good enough, but then there's I'm not worthy of that success.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I am not as a person, right? So not good enough, right? I don't deserve that success. And when I talk to people, and once we develop a little bit of trust, and I asked them head on, it's like, is it because you don't have the experience, or you don't think you're good enough, or you don't think you're worthy enough? It always comes down to I don't think I'm worth it. I had that problem myself, right? So my entire career, my entire life, I built $1 million business consulting businesses, right? And then I crashed, and I took a job, and to recover, right? Build a business to $1 million, and it crashed. And the last time that happened was a few years ago. It wasn't about to happen, and my wife said, "Now maybe you should call Ty." Right? A Ty is in my estimation, the best hypnotic therapist that you can find in the United States. She has a waiting list. She's she's like super amazing, super talented. But I also knew if your wife sends you to another woman to get help, you're in trouble. And so I went through the therapy with her, and because of my childhood experience, with like physical and mental abuse and illness and accidents and so on, I just never thought I was worth it. The moment I hit 7 figures, like, oops. I like subconsciously found something to self-sabotage and make it crash,
Yeah.
So that's why I know that I see it, I hear it in people, and overcoming that is so difficult because it takes time. We need to literally wrestle our mind into submission to make that happen.
Yeah. I mean, this is something I guess that all of us who are going to work or working with the therapist are really working on discovering those things that have built your persona until today, those childhood experiences, those traumas, etc. Right? How you can sabotage yourself and that, right? I think what you bring into the table is extremely interesting in terms of like of experience that you're having, right? And I thought of discussing with you today as well. When these moments of down, when these moments of there needs to be a change, or there can be a change. Why should folks start considering a different approach to what they're doing? For example, you mentioned it before, like, hey, why should I start, for example, building my own business, being a consultant? Why should I do this? Like, I have a job, maybe it's easy for me to do this, right? And I think you and I on a private call talked about this last summer. But tell us, those who are listening, tell us why?
Well, everything in life either grows or dies, right? So, and I think as humans, we all have that innate urge to develop and progress, right? And some people are happy cruising. It's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm sure that somewhere in their lives they have that urge. Maybe I'll give you an example of people that I work with, right? So I work with people who tell me, Andrew, I really just want to be a great aunt and wife and cousin and sister to my family, right? So, and they work hard on just honing those skills, right? So it doesn't have to be monetarily, or it doesn't have to be your career, everybody has something where that we know from the highest performers in the world, for example, all of them have a hobby that they treat just as seriously as their job, even though it doesn't make them money.
Okay.
But for me, it was martial arts. Yes. So I wanted to be one of the best, and I did. And I was selected by the Department of Defense to train special forces. Sometimes when they go into other countries to extract people from other countries, bring them back to the US, the ambassador of the country does not allow them to bring the firearms, right? But they can always bring their knives, right? So, I was one of the leading people, as I said earlier, right? So smash into the window, pull people out, and there's so many elements to it that can go wrong. Yes, but I never made significant amount of money with it. I just wanted to be the best. Yes. And the highest performers in the world, they all have a hobby like that.
So the why is because you need to improve, and why you need to be the best of yourself. That's what you will coach.
Do it for yourself, right? Yes. So, and for example, you also do it because you learn something outside of your own profession, or own industry, that you can bring in that makes you unique, right? In my case, for example, I've learned to teach people fast under pressure. Under pressure meaning you're going to die if it doesn't work. Yes. So that totally has shaped my approach to coaching and how I train my people, my students and clients, and how I work with them. And I have an insane ability to work under an intense amount of pressure to this day, right? And help people with it and find shortcuts to get people results faster than most people can. That is my uniqueness. That doesn't work for everyone. Some people like to have a more gentle and longer approach and a process. It's totally fine. But that's what I mean with uniqueness, right? So you bring from something from the outside, you bring that into your profession or into your business, and the way you deliver, the way you act, that makes you stand out. The challenge with that is it is very hard in corporate America to stand out.
Yeah, why? Why do you think that?
Because nobody wants you to stand out. Corporate America promotes mediocrity.
Okay.
Right. Okay. If you're not performing, there's a huge tolerance for underperformers. Right. I have clients that left corporate because they were too successful in corporate and they were shut down. I know that as a German, right? So German born, when I first moved to the US like 35 years ago. 35 years ago? Damn. So my colleagues, they didn't like me because I got the work that they got done in a week. I got done in like half a day. Yeah. And I found corporate America hardworking, no doubt, but so inefficient, right? So that it take you so long. Anyway, so so when you stand out in corporate, one of my friends explained that to me like you're a virus, right? So you're a virus that can harm the organism, and then the organism fights back. Yes. So, so it's very hard to get the recognition that you deserve as a high performer, and that's why high performers eventually decide to do their own thing.
Wow, that's very interesting that you say that. And if our listener is fed up with corporate America, with corporate Europe, or with corporate Asia, what do you think is the first step he should do after finding his why to start this new episode of his career or her career, or starting?
Well, being employed is not bad, right? So it's
no. Why would it? No.
For most people, I think what most people do not understand is whether they're good at. Most people know better what they're not good at, and even there, they are more frequently wrong than right. But most people are not clear about what they're good at. Why? Because talking about what you are good at and where you excel is considered bragging, and bragging is to be avoided, right? So, and that breaks my heart, because where the mind goes, energy flows, right? So if we always talk about what we are not good at, then we will focus on what we're not good at, instead of focusing on what we do best and where we are doing well, right? So that's number one. So get clarification on what you're good at, and then find a job that allows you, an employer that allows you to do the job that you want to do.
It's funny what you say, makes me think a little bit, because you've been in all sides sides of you've been in both sides, or you were in the side of the person that had a job, you're in the side of an entrepreneur now. But it makes me think a lot about like why people fail, why businesses fail, etc. And I come to the conclusion that it's very dependent on, hard work and a lot of dedication, etc. But what about the opportunities? What about the connections? Like maybe you based in Texas do not have the same connection as somebody based here and cannot get that far. How can we tackle this? What do you think about that? Like, what would you tell somebody that you coach in this regard? Like, hey, bear in mind that you might not get the opportunities that somebody that is in California is going to get if you're based somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't think that's true anymore.
Yeah.
I think we're always focused on. So what we're not having is almost is most important to most people than what we are already having. And I think the most important thing is to figure out what are you good at, how do you work, right? And then find an industry that is meaningful to you, and then an employer in your neighborhood where you can apply yourself. And that's not. It is simple, but not trivial. Yes. Give an example from my own life. So in 1997, I was managing director for Central and Eastern Europe for a company called Billets, which is now Lionbridge. Was Lionbridge? Does Lionbridge still exist?
Yes.
I'm not yes, there's no Lionbridge, and
I think yes, it exists still. Yeah, but it's one of the big language service providers, right, in the industry.
Yeah, anyway, either way. So I was with Berlitz at the time, and I was hired there. Flew in from New York, got a job there, and that division or region had lost millions of dollars over years, right? So they hired me and said, Andrew, you can come in, you can everything that you want, you can close it down, you can move it from Sindelfingen, Germany, where it was, to Berlin, you can change whatever. We are out of options, and kind of like, and by the way, if it doesn't work, then we're going to fire you as well, right? So great, that's the kind of challenge that I like. So I went over there and I turned them profitable in 4.5 months.
Wow.
That's something that 9 managing directors before me have not achieved, right? So, and as a result of that, the World Bank in Washington, D.C. headhunted me, right? So I would have never applied for the World Bank. I was successful, and B, I never thought they would want me, right? So anyway, so they headhunted me and I took that job, and that was my least successful job ever. That was actually my last corporate job, and I was so downhearted afterwards, so I've decided to never go back. But the question that I had, the question that I was looking for an answer to was, why? I was obviously one of the best managers, leaders in the industry at the time. And now I moved to a different organization and I utterly failed. Yeah. What happened? I can tell you what, that took me 10 years to figure out. I took a Colby A index, which measures like how you take action if you have the freedom to be yourself. So it's not a personality test. It measures like on the deepest level of your mind, how you would take action if you had the freedom to be yourself. And we all have like 4 different modes, and we all are different in it, right? So some people, before they start solving a problem, they need to research first. Yes, they do a lot of data. It's like, based on the data, I can strategize. Then you have people say, why would you do that without a plan? I build a plan first. Before you research, and the people that research that, why would you make a plan first if you don't have the data, right? So then you have people like me, we're called quick starts. We just brainstorm, and we're like, why would you do any of that unless you have brainstormed some ideas, right? So. And then you have other people say, why would you start there and not start with what you already have and see what you can build from here, right? So there's like, so different approaches, how we deal with, how we manage and gather and share information, how we organize and design everything in our lives, how we deal with risk and uncertainty, and how we deal with space and tangibles. And I am one who does not need a lot of information to be able to take action. I'm a shortcutter. I will not follow processes, right, and procedures, right? So if you wanted me to be a software tester, right, to go through a protocol every day, I'd be not your person, right? I'm high risk, right, and a lot of brainstorm, high risk. Every idea that I have is the best idea in the history of the universe. And needs to be implemented right away. And I'm more tactical. I have I need movement and space, right? So not so good with the abstract. And that is the opposite of the World Bank, right? The World Bank deals with their main product is loans and analytical work, which is all written, right? All data research. It's high on protocol research and protocol procedure and protocol research and processes. Yes. It's risk averse because it lends billions of dollars, right? So, and I want to make sure that they're going to get paid back, and their deliverables is money, which is abstract, and reports, which has nothing to do with space and tangibles, right? So I wasn't able to use any of my strength, even though I had the most experience and the most extensive knowledge in the localization industry at the time. But I wasn't allowed, based on how the World Bank works, to use my own strength. And neither the World Bank was aware of it nor I. Right? And that's exactly what happens in the workplace right now. They hire people based on, do you have the knowledge? Do you have the experience? They never look at, how do you take action in a way that is compatible with the way that we work, right?
But I mean, I think that's and I think I'm just like you. I'm more entrepreneurial, and I have always tended to work in smaller companies, smaller, bit more mid-sized, where you really, because just like you, I'm an impulsive doer. I said, I shoot first and ask questions after, and then, but by instinct, it has helped me. It has helped me grow and meet people and get a proper job and living and experiences. But what I wanted to say is like on top of this, I think that one of the skills that I would say that I have and you have too is definitely adaptability, because you were able to adapt, although despite the failure, and you were able to adapt in different situations. Adaptability is something that people struggle with a lot, right? Don't you? What is your take on that? And how do you, for example, when you start talking to one of your clients and you say, "Holy smokes, this guy is really." It's very rigid. It's not adaptable. What kind of advice would you give in this regard? Or what would you do?
I think neither you and I are as adaptable as we might think. Right. So, no, because you march by your own drum, and you live your like a life that a lot of people that I know that admire. Right. You travel, you get along with everyone, you have fun, and so I do know, I'm 100% certain that behind all of that is a lot of work and a lot of frustration as well. But by and large, you live the life that you want, right?
And what's next? I don't know. I'm flexible. That's the thing that I want to like. What's coming? We don't know, right? Like, but that's sorry to.
Yeah, and that may always be, that probably will always be the case.
Yes.
Yes. So that tells me that you're not adaptable.
Oh, really?
Because that behavior is stays the same. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So just the fact that you are more adventurous and are willing to take more risks does not mean that you're more adaptable. And here's why. So think about it this way: everything that you feel and experience creates a feeling, right? So everything that you feel creates a chemical composition in your body, right?
Yes.
So if you tend to be more stressed, for example, which is what is true for, I think, like the last data say, like 70% in corporate America people are stressed and burned out. If you are that way, you have an incredible amount of cortisol in your body at almost any time. So cortisol is a stress hormone that has very specific purposes in stressful situations. Yes. Mm-hmm. So if you're getting attacked by a lion right now, right? Or if I would stay in front of you and I was with a knife in my hand and about to kill you and cause harm, right? So your body will change, right? So your blood will flow from the brain to the muscle, because you don't need to think to fight. You need muscle, right? You need to protect your body. Your eyes widen, your pupils widen, so that you can take in more light, right? And it does a lot of other things to your blood pressure. It brings up your blood pressure, right? All of that, right? So your fingernails in your hair stops growing when you have cortisol, because you don't need it in a stressful situation. Yes.
Yeah.
But cortisol is supposed to go away the moment stress goes away. So if I just take out my knife to think I'm going to kill you, and then I say, "Oh, just a jog," and leave, right? And then you go, have you ever been in a near car accident? And like, oh, this is going to be it, and then nothing happened, and you go like, that, like, when you breathe out like that, that is literally flushing out the cortisol of your body. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're constantly under stress, which you are, in most people are in their job, you always have that cortisol in your body. So it does. Why do you think right now, especially in the Western world, and you can say anything about the U.S. healthcare system, but compared to the vast country, for the most countries in the world, we have the best medication, the best doctors, the best systems in the world to treat disease. We have the cleanest water, the best food, if you want to, right? Why are obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and so on the rise? Because there's too much cortisol in your body. So that's one thing. Now we're going to the change part, right? So now your autonomous nervous system thinks that the chemical composition that you have in your body is normal. So and then what happens is you go home, you maybe wind down with a glass of wine, and stress goes away, your cortisol just flushes out, and then your autonomous nervous system signals to the brain, dear brain, something's wrong here. I want my cortisol back. Yes. And make Andrew or Javi do something to get their cortisol back.
Yeah.
And what's the easiest way to get stressed? To think about something that has not already happened, that hasn't already happened, that hasn't happened.
Anxiety.
Yes. So you go to like, okay, what if tomorrow my boss finds out? What if my client's like, what if, right? So, and you think about work. And suddenly you're stressed again, right? And that's when you cannot sleep. And then you go through the entire cycle of, again, we talked about resulting diseases as well, right? The opposite is also true. When you feel happiness more often, your autonomous nervous system will crave the hormones, which are chemicals, that cause happiness, right? So, and the reason why it is so difficult to change is because your autonomous nervous system literally fights your brain. That's why people move from one bad job to the next, move from one toxic relationship to the next, and tend to make the same mistakes in their lives every single time.
And we're not as adaptable as we thought we were.
No, we're not. And so the only way to change that is to change your how your autonomous nervous system perceives and wants the chemical composition in your body, and that's through meditation, relaxation. And if you're interested, Joe Dispenza has done an incredible amount of work on it, and follow him, and you will learn that in much more detail and much more scientifically explained than I can do here on the call.
No, that's beautiful. It's like, it makes me think of this book I read some time ago about the power of the habit, how most of our behavior is based or is created, and the way we feel, the way we are internally, based on the habits we have acquired, especially lately, how difficult it is as well to relate with others based on those habits you acquired, and how difficult it is to change your habits to new ones, right?
And then I have people that tell me, but Andrew, I don't have habits. I deliberately do not have habits. I change my habits all the time. Well, that is a habit.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yes. yes. Man, you're great. I love your approach to the world and what you're doing, and how you talk to people. You inspire all of us. Like every time I leave the room and I've spoken with you, I get inspired, my friend. Like that energy you have, that way of telling things face to face, front. It's like, hey, you are doing this wrong. Like, figure it out. Like, that's awesome. That's great. Like, I don't want to take more of your time, but I just want to ask one last question, my friend. It's like, I want you to give us some advice. Like, anyone that is been now, that feels that is now down, not in a good moment, that has been affected by layoffs, that is thinking of what to do. And I want you to give us some advice, general advice, and also some particular advice from your perspective on how individuals that have been, because in the podcast we've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs before that have been employed, what do they need to think to get out of that employee mentality and do the jump and go to the entrepreneur life?
Yeah. So, did you say interpreter?
Entrepreneur.
Like
business owner. No, entrepreneur.
Okay. I just want to know. We both have accents, right? So,
yes.
Little story here. I like boat drinks, right? So drinks that you have on the boats, like here when you're like in the Caribbean or here on Lake Travis in Texas, right? And so we like fruit drinks with alcohol in it, and margaritas, love that. So when my Irish family comes and I ask them, what kind of boat drink do you like? And they always think, I said both drinks, right? 2 drinks instead of both drinks. So we have accents, and so we sometimes need to ask for clarification. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine.
I think first make the, but to come back to your question about entrepreneurship, first make the decision if it's good for you. For the vast majority of people, entrepreneurship is not good. It's hard. Most people that start their own business, they create a lower paid job that requires them harder and longer than they had before, and they're not getting anywhere because they don't understand how to remove themselves from the business, and they also underestimate how hard it is. It's hard work. It's called what Anthony Trucks calls dark work, right? So you see this here, you see all my certifications, what I'm doing, but there is years of frustration and work and figuring it out behind it, and years of doubts and multiple times of thinking, shall I go back to corporate, right? So all of that has happened. So it's hard, and you need to be prepared for that. So it's number one. Number two, if you determine that corporate life is better, take a Kolbe assessment, Kolbe, Kolbea. You can go to kolbe.com and it costs $55, and that will tell you exactly what your cognitive strengths are, and that has been a lifesaver for so many people in corporate that I know. And now you know, it's like how you take action, how you best solve problems, and what you need to do to not work against your grain all the time, and then you find the right employer job to find it. And every city has one of those jobs. I'm saying every city has one of those jobs. Number two is if you decide to go into into entrepreneurship, get a coach, a good coach, right? No, and I know it's like a self-serving statement here right now, but just the fact that you are an expert in your professional industry is different from being a consultant, for example, because you need consulting is and coaching is a profession with tools and strategies, right, and approaches and processes that work, and but you need to learn. They're different from what you learn in corporate. What you've learned in corporate. Number two, you need somebody to teach you so that, and number two, you need somebody to teach to help you get out of your head.
Yeah.
So give an example. Because it breaks my heart. I'm currently working with a good friend of mine who works on active shooter prevention. Right. So, active shooters here in the US, it's an issue, school shootings in particular. And what breaks my heart is that active shootings can be almost 100% be prevented, because we know the steps that need to happen in order for somebody to make that decision. We know the behavioral indicators, right? We have in schools, for example, we have counselors, right? So outside of schools, we have a lot of other so we know exactly how to prevent active shooting. Yes,
Yeah.
you cannot implement it right now, right? Because corporate America or schools don't value security. I can tell you who values security. Casinos. Have you ever been in Las Vegas and gone to a casino?
In Reno, yeah.
Yeah, well, you have a lot of freedom. You can go anywhere and place, but try to, I happened to be once in Las Vegas. I had my 9-year-old son, and we just wanted to make it out of the casino, because we wanted to go to the Grand Canyon or so. And on the way, he saw a slot machine. He had a quarter in his hand, and he just wanted to put that quarter into the slot machine. And sure enough, he was stopped by somebody who was disguised as security and so on, right? So that's how good they are. And you tell me that we cannot identify active shooters early enough, but we don't value it, because casinos pay a lot of money for security. Yes,
yeah.
Schools don't. So that's number one. Number two is both for the workplace and for institutional schools, universities, you need to balance the experience, the campus experience, with security, right? And then your privacy rights. So what breaks my heart is that there are experts that have actually figured out how to prevent active shootings, but they do not know how to implement it. Yes, because how to turn that knowledge now into a business model that makes money, and that's also practical. Yes, because take privacy rights. Like a counselor cannot. They need to keep secret, some of the information they've gotten. They cannot share that, and but that skill to turn that knowledge into a business model, despite all of the obstacles that are in the way, there are processes for that. There are tools for that, right? So everything can be done, but most people go and say, I know enough. I don't need to educate myself further. Or find a coach, find help, find a peer group. and then determine what I call the sweet spot. The sweet spot is the intersection of what you do uniquely, what do you well uniquely more than anybody else, what your clients need and value, and how you deliver so that you can scale. And most people start out not understanding their clients.
Especially if people don't have experience, front office experience, right? Like talking to people.
But even specialists, I mean, we both have a background in localization. I cannot tell you how often I work with vendors. They did not understand their clients. What happens on the client side after they have delivered their translated or localized work? No clue, right? And when I ask them, so why does your client want that? No, they don't. I ask my clients all the time, interview your clients and write down the way they speak. And I guarantee you, they have a different lingo and they describe problems and solutions differently than you do. And every single time they tell me, Andrew, our industry is so specialized, we all have the same terminology. What are you talking about? They do it anyway. And they always come back and say, Andrew, you were so right. Right? You were so right.
Getting out of the comfort zone too, that we've been talking about now all the time.
Say it again?
Like getting out of the comfort zone. It requires a lot of getting out of your comfort zone, going out there doing, people need to understand also the relationship between vendor and client. It is difficult sometimes, as I said, like especially if you're not used to that. And
So my advice is to do two things, right? So number one, like for understanding your client, go to your clients and ask them 2 questions, only 2 questions. You can ask more, but ask them 2 questions. Number one is, what do you not like about meaning the client's industry? Because when you talk to people, said, what do you not like about your job or your current employer? What do you not like about your own company? They're very guarded, right? So they will not tell you everything because they have loyalty to their employer, even though they may not like the job or whatever, but that loyalty is still there, right? So, but when you ask them about their industry, they tell you the same kind of problems, but it's detached from their current employer or their own situation. Right. Number 2 is ask them what do you not like or resent most about my own industry, me as the interviewer. No, so when you ask somebody, what do you not like about me or my company or what we are not doing well, people will not tell you that. I can tell you why. Well, how I know that? I gave a presentation once and I bought a new suit, awesome suit that has blue and it was a little bit sparkling, but not too much, and it looked great. It was like Yves Saint Laurent, whatever. And I had it like tailored, right? So, and the tailor for some reason didn't do a good job with the seams. And while I was presenting on stage, my entire butt seam cracked open. Yes. And everybody saw my fluorescent green underwear, right? For a day. Nobody told me anything. Nobody said anything. People will not tell you what they really think sucks about you, right? So,
like I've done this always in yearly reviews of what kind of work I'm doing. I tend to go and ask, hey, don't tell me what I'm doing good. Tell me what I'm doing bad. What I do good, I know, right? It's a lot also connected to the fact of always looking for external approval as well. But I think you can learn more by asking what you do wrong than what you do good. You tend to know what you do good, actually, right? And what am I going to tell you, Andrew? You know that this is also another of the key things in personal relationships, right? Like, hey, when you started a conversation or a fight, go fight with a friend or a partner, right? So,
well, but it's like the same thing, right? So, when you're by the way, you never ask about what's not good about me or what do you not like about me. So, what do you not like about in a relationship, men in general, right? And I can tell you that list that you're getting is all about you, but even though, but it's the same with your profession, right? So, what do you not like about science? If I was a localization service provider, I would not ask my client, what do you not like about me? It's like, what do you not like about the localization industry in particular? And what do you not like about localization service providers in particular? And what can the industry do better? So now we got 2 things, right? So what people want and value and have, and what people want and value and don't have, and that's where you set yourself apart, right? And that's just
no. Well, it's great. I mean, we're about to reach the hour of the podcast, and man, I mean, I can be talking here to you for the whole afternoon. I will always learn something, right? I'm so thankful that you came here. Like, it's been a pleasure talking to you about entrepreneurship. Like, what do you need to get? Like, what do you need to think of to get out of that comfort zone and jump and do it? And hey, realize that maybe it's not for you as well, too, right? It's also been great to talk to you about flexibility, right? And how at the end we're not that flexible as we look like, right? Even though it looks like you're doing something that is amazing, you're not that flexible, right?
Yeah.
The whys, the whats, the how, right?
Yes.
And I want to ask you, Raul, as well now, like to finish this, is like, I know you're giving constant courses and lessons and lectures. Maybe do you want to share something or offer something to our listeners today?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I would like to say, if it comes to what to correct my statement about entrepreneurship, I personally believe that it's better to regret things that you have done than regretting things that you have not done. But that's a different conversation. Not everybody is the same. I understand. But if you want to find out, I have a free sweet spot quiz. You can get there by teamlawless.com/sweet spot quiz.com. No, sorry, andrewlawless.com/sweet spot quiz in one word, sweet spot quiz. And you got 9 questions, and these 9 questions, after you've answered them, you immediately get feedback on where you need to work on, what you need to look at, either in your business or your business plans to be successful and stand out and have that ability to grow beyond standard norms. So that's that sweet spot. And then you also have the ability to book a call with me, and then we can look at what are the best options for you, and does it make sense for you to start your new job, start your own company, or find a new job, or maybe just tweak your job in a way that works for you, right? Very often it's just more about alignment than it is more about making a change. So we can do this there in that conversation. And if you already have started and you already have a business, doesn't matter what size, and you feel that you are either dealing with feast and famine cycles, or you are plateauing, or you overworked and stressed, then the sweet spot will help you as well, and we can have that conversation. And that's at teamlawless.com/sweet spot quiz.
I recommend you folks listening, go follow Andrew, go talk to Andrew, make friends with Andrew, and eventually use Andrew's services if needed, because he's great. Andrew, thank you so much for being here today with us. It's a pleasure. I'm sure we're going to have a second part of our conversation, because when I called you to invite you here, you told me that you are going to be disruptive, that your goal is to be disruptive, to disrupt the way people think and work. And maybe in the next episode, you come here and talk about that.
Yes, that'd be all my pleasure. I think you are a wonderful host. I appreciate what you're doing here, and will be an honor.
Thanks so much, my friend. I hope to see you very soon.
You too.
Bye. Bye to everybody.